Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines. And we are here in our new Green Cities Canal District that we built last time out. And I am just loving sitting here watching all of these people come off the metro station and hang out at the bus stops waiting to be picked up by the bus. There's hardly anybody getting into cars as they come out of this metro station here, which is really, really nice to see. It's kind of a semi-mini transport hub that we have going on down this end here. But I think the build came together quite nicely with this ziggurat garden as the focal point, which is going to be very much a backdrop for our downtown, which will sit all the way in the background here behind this ziggurat garden. And it was an awful lot of key work in here, but it did come together. It was a long episode to make, but I think it was worth it in the end. So first things first, let's give this district a name. So I'll just paint in the district area, which I had failed to do before. So now the name that I'd like to give this district is actually one suggested by Overcharged Egg. So for those of you who have followed this series from the beginning, you'll know that I was quite heavily influenced by Overcharged Egg series Palaven for this whole build. And he has since done this collab build, building the amazing Solitude Port with a Palaven Park in it. And the name that he suggested for this was that, well, he said that the Palaven Town Council would like to offer a township partnership to Canalavan. So he has suggested Canalidon for this area, which I absolutely love and I can't pass up on. It's too good a name. And a lot of you agreed in the comments as well. So there we have it. We do have a Canalidon now in Auridon, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much for that suggestion. And yeah, there's our Green Cities Canal District, nicely named. And there are some updates that we can do further along the line. I'd definitely like to introduce some boats and some water aspects, maybe some piers, that sort of thing, around the lake here. I am going to keep the canals free, but it's highly likely that I'll extend the canal district into an area of the downtown further down that way. So there will be more developments amongst Canalidon yet to come. And we have also done a live stream since the last episode where we were finishing off this stadium plaza that we had going on here. So we've added a bit of tiling detailing out the front here, lots of planters, some network planters as well, following some of these paths round, and decorated out that tram track all the way round. And also added in this Green Cities commercial district here with these sort of semi-permanent style of buildings. We've mixed in all of the different types of assets that the Green Cities DLC has to offer here, and used a bit of herringbone tiling decals there to give the area a little bit of life just in the corner of this main plaza here. And of course we added in the car parks and a little police and fire station complex. And we will come out in the next live stream and finish off this area with some more detailing in the backstage area where we can put some players' coaches, limousines, that sort of thing. And yeah, filling in some of these gaps that we've got developing around. So extending some more of the university assets out into here is what's needed there. So we'll do that on the next live stream coming very soon. But for today's episode, I am going to turn my attention over into this area by Solitude Port over here. Now we are nearing the downtown, but before we get there, I do want to finish off all of these surrounding areas here. So this is the next build to come. And what we're going to do in this area is a little office park. Because when we look at our services at the moment, we do have quite a high commercial and industrial need. So we'll be putting in some mixed commercial assets and some office assets into this area and creating a nice little Auridon style office park out of it. So now the first thing that I want to do is looking at this area and looking at Solitude Port. It's so like beautiful in its nature. We've got this absolutely amazing botanical garden over here with the different coloured trees, lots of nature, grass, parks, that sort of thing. So I don't want to just suddenly go into a massive built up office complex here. So what I would like to do as a key feature of this area is actually add in a couple of streams. So that is what we're going to kick off with, is doing a little bit of terraforming to add in our streams. Now, whenever you're doing terraforming and you are lowering or raising the land, you definitely want to turn down this brush strength right here. So we'll just raise the brush size a little bit. We've turned that one right down. And then what we're going to do is add in a kind of semi-lake over at this end. And we're going to make it reasonably shallow. This is not going to be a deep big lake by any stretch of the imagination. We'll just create a little lake area like that. And then what I'd like to do is bring out a couple of streams which reach this water here. So we'll just do that at this level for the time being. We'll bring that off in another spit down to here. And this will come off this lake here. Now we do just want to make sure that it's all the right level here so we get water flowing through it really nicely. And then what we can do at the ends here as they go into the lake is use our slope tool. So if we right click here, we can then drag from this level up to there to make sure that that water is sloping in. And then exactly the same thing at this end here. Now let's of course clear out our trees so they're not going to be sitting in our lake there. And in fact what I will do actually is just clear them out from this whole area here so we have a little bit of space to work with. And then what we can do is add in our water source, and of course we do want to turn the water capacity right down just to start off with. We put it in, hit pause, and then we just click with the mouse to raise and lower that height. And if you look further away you can see what that height of water is going to be, and we don't want it to flood like that. We want it to just be as near as to the top as possible really here, because it is going to get lower as it comes down here because of the way the terrain slopes down. If we just hit play on that and see what happens, we can then take a view as to whether that is the right height. Okay, so I think we've got that right. I did just adjust the height of it so that the stream was a little bit shallower coming down here. But what we do want to do now as well is just soften up some of these edges a little bit so that we don't get these kind of extreme cliffs down into the river and into the lake area here. And we can also use a bit of surface painter just to add a bit of textures in here. And of course, like now I'm blocking up the river by using the smoothing function here. I don't mind this bit being a little bit rocky in the middle with the kind of rocky cliff texture there, and a little bit poking through is absolutely fine. So what I would like to do around there as well is just add a tiny bit of this sand texture. We can turn the brush strength back up, make the brush size reasonably big. If we add in some of this just around this lake area, just a tiny bit, this is a bit too much here. That will help to give it a little bit of texture instead of having that cliff edge. So now that we've got that in, we are going to build an office park all around this area. So I do want to also just reassess the road network a little bit, because we do have the port over here, so there's likely to be quite a bit of cargo traffic. And it isn't the main port, granted, we will have the main port over this side, but I'm still expecting this one to increase in traffic as time goes on. At the moment it's not too bad, but it could get busier. So what I would like is a direct access link into the downtown rather than going into this crossroads through here. So what I will do is slightly destroy this lovely roundabout that Egg put in, but we will just add in another connection here, which is going to join onto this collector that way. And of course, let's not forget to come in with Traffic Manager, give ourselves dedicated turning lanes. And actually what I will do for now, as I'm not expecting this to be busy, is take off the traffic light and we'll just say that these guys can give way and people can keep going along the main road there. Now with this road, I am just going to break this connection here. We'll bring that right back to this point. And then what I'm going to do is bring it in right down into the downtown. So for now, I am actually just going to continue this on straight. And then what I'd like is a super parallel road to this. So we'll bring out this one at a nice 90-degree angle. And then we'll have this one flowing into the downtown from this way so that we know that those are super parallel. So then what we can do is connect this up, going around this lake area, just following that curvature of the terrain there and joining back into the roundabout that we already have, like that. Then what we can do is just use a tiny bit of Move It to just smoothen out some of these curves here. And then of course let's fix this roundabout because I can't undo all of Egg's absolutely lovely work there. So we'll go into intersection marking tool, and what we can do is just simply copy that junction and paste it in down here. And what we will need to do is spin that round, obviously, so that it works there. And then we do also just need to use a little bit of node controller here to straighten those out. And of course, let's definitely remove the crossings from there, as that just doesn't look right. And there we go. And so I will just put back in the tree as well that was in there as decoration too. And there we have our roundabout back working and functional. There's two other big road network considerations that I want to make here. And the first is actually extending this collector off across the cove, if we want to call it that here. So what we will do is just simply bring that sweep in all the way across like that. Then we can bring it down flat onto the land there, which will then follow out through into that element of the downtown there. And let's of course not make sure that we don't have any dips like that. So we'll use network multi-tool, we'll grab that node, we'll grab the node over here, and we will do slope function. Hit enter on that, and then that'll slope it nicely for us. And what I would also like to do as well actually is just upgrade this to a bridge so that we get these nice archways across here, which I think is a nice aesthetic, which will be sitting again in front of the downtown there when the lights are on and it's night time. That'll give us a nice bridge aesthetic next to this port as well in front of that downtown area. And then the other thing that I'd like to do is start to introduce a bit of a ring road from this area as well, which is going to span all the way around the main downtown, all around this kind of peninsula that we've got going on here. So let's just go ahead and select our 2-lane, 2-way highway. And what we're going to do is actually bring it out from this point here. And if we just turn on topography, because yeah, there are a few lumps and bumps that we need to contend with around this area. So we're just going to bring this across like so. We'll loop it across onto this island. And we can sort out all the angles with move it in just a second. Then what we will do is proceed to bring it around the coastline here. And there we go, so this is all flattened out around this area, and it does go up a slight hill here, which I quite like. We can take that through nature here and then just running down the side of this highway. And we'll leave it at that point for now, and we can connect that up further down the line when we start to come onto the area, the other side of the cove. So, looking at road network for our internal office park. So let's just grab our bog standard road with grass for this. And we will bring it out from this junction here in just a straight line, and then we'll proceed to bend it round, I think at about that distance, which I'm going to check in just a second. And what I would like is a road that's parallel to this one. So again, we'll just bring out a guide road for now to ensure that we are getting it parallel, and then we'll bring it out about there, and then we can get rid of this guide road like that. Now, the couple of the first assets that I do want to place in here are actually the Japanese content creator pack assets. So we have this one, which I like in particular, and I'm thinking we'll have it orientated like that, because I'm actually going to put it back to back with another one of these, which is very similar. So the one that I do want to use is actually one that we've already used over in the power plant over here, which is this building here, which is very similar style to the one that we've just placed in. But because it's a unique, we can't use it again, except we do have move it. So we can copy it from here to place it back in again. So just by copying it again, we can add this in this side. So we want to make sure the access is like that. And what we are going to do is put it back to back with this other asset here. So I'm just going to line it up to the edge of this road, and then we'll do exactly the same with this one. We'll leave a little narrow alleyway in between the two of them, so that there is space to walk around there. I mean, there are actually doors on the back of this building here, so it makes sense if we leave access to that. So we'll just place that in, yeah, about there, and then we can use a tiny bit of surface painter just to touch up that little bit of tearing there. Now, I definitely want to introduce some car parks into here as well. So what I will do is go ahead and use car parking lot roads, and we'll just use the service road to bring out an access point running in front of this unique building like that. And then what we will do is build car parks off from that. I think we can just give these a tiny bit more breathing room. We just shift that one over ever so slightly, and then take this one as well. Just get a little bit more space in between the parking lots there, which I think will give us some nicer detailing opportunities for those, rather than just surface painting them in with concrete there. And then what I'll do the other side is just grab a simple 1-unit road actually to come out in front of this building here. We'll just come out like that. And then what I am going to do is take a concrete road, the connecting section, and then bring out the other section like this, which is just going to run parallel to this main collector here, which we will then put in some offices into this area. So now before I start adding in too many office buildings, I do want to think about public transport in here. And what I would like to do is to start our monorail line, which will then run down from here into the downtown. So we've got the metro coming out here, which ends at Solitude Port, and we've got the extension that will be running from the metro line, obviously, through Auridon. So we're going to start to introduce the monorail, I think, coming in from this direction. So the first station that I would like is going to sit opposite here. Let's just grab our monorail stations and we'll just do the one that is up against a road for now. And we'll place that in here. And actually, because we have got the car park here, I'm just going to extend this road on ever so slightly so that it looks like it comes into it. And then what we can do here as well to make it look even more realistic is just bend that concrete road in so it looks like people can actually drive into that car park. And I will actually just use node controller here to remove the markings from there so that we don't get so many zebra crossings sitting in this area. So then with the monorail, I would also like another station over here so that we can get people from the metro line onto the monorail system that will then lead them into the downtown. So I have a slight mini transport hub over here, just connecting between the metro and the monorail lines. We do have our power line coming into there, which we can move in a second. So again, let's just grab our monorail station. We can place it in like that. And then what I will actually do is I'm going to actually just move it back slightly so that it is sitting slightly further back and we can do some nice detailing in front of it. And again, for this, I am actually going to use the pavement roads here because I just really like how they connect. And it means that it's not so obviously sitting on a road. And it's much more pedestrianised going up to this monorail station there. And because I think this might be quite busy, I am actually going to attempt to do a little bit of a park life cheese on it. We'll just do a very, very small park area like that. We'll grab our main gate, the gateless entrance, which is just with the pavement texture, which is this one. And we can put that in here. And then we'll just grab the side entrance as well and put that in the other side. And then what we can do is connect them up with a little bit of pavement. Just like so. Let's just move that over so that is nice and straight. And then what it means that people will, if they're walking down that pavement, will end up paying to get through to the monorail. And of course they can walk up the road, so we'll see if they take that option. But firstly, we do need to connect up the monorail. So let's grab our monorail line. And we'll continue to bring that up and connect onto the other station. And now that that is in, we can then put in a monorail line just to get people flowing backwards and forwards between these two stations. We'll just put that in nice and simply, and we'll just leave it all like that for the time being. For now, let's just continue this monorail line across this water edge here so that it can flow on into the downtown, just like that. And then this end as well, we do want to make sure that our monorail is connected up for walking access as well. So let's just put in a small piece of path just to connect them up to these crossings here where they can then get through down into the market area and down to the metro station here, just providing a few more connections. Now I would then also like to bring off the main road network that's going to flow through this area off here. So we will actually just turn off road bending for this because I want to get it as a nice straight angle. We'll bring it out like that, turn road bending back on. And bring it out as a bridge straight across onto this island. And then what we will do is actually connect it into this ring road here. And we will just come straight across and connect it like that. Then we're starting to get a little bit of loads of height going across our small riverbed here with the monorail and the road crossing. And then also from this same junction, so it is going to be a busy one, I am going to bring a road just straight across and over the river here. And then continuing it on down the side of this little lake here. And what we can do at this end is then connect it up into this collector here, just providing some more options for getting around. Now on this node, I would like to use node controller here just to widen this all out. So let's just increase that offset quite a bit across all of the nodes here. And we'll straighten them up using the make end straight function there. That just gives us a much wider intersection to work with. And then the final bit of road network I'd like to do is just bring out a road swooping around this island here. So we will just bring out a road We'll turn off all snapping now that we've got our angle set, and we'll just go freeform around this island. Okay, so there we have our road network layout for this area. We can continue to put some office assets in. So behind the monorail station, what I'd like to do is take a couple of these high density buildings and we will flip them around and put them back onto this monorail station. So it sort of looks like the monorail station is a bit of an extension to these buildings here. So we'll move them right in up close to the back of it so that it's merged in there. And again, we'll bring in this one right next to this one and line it up nicely so that we get that continuous building effect out of both of these, and they fit quite nicely into the space that we have available there. But we definitely do want to make sure that they are the same colour, so let's just reset this one so we get the white frontage on it. And there's actually already no billboards on it, which is handy. Otherwise I would have bobbed them off, for sure. And on the monorail station, I am just going to get rid of these vanilla trees as well because I just don't like how they look. So we'll just remove them entirely and then we can add in our own decorations as we see fit there. So the monorail station is almost merged into the back of these buildings here. So then what we can do for access as well is continue on our pavement roads around this. So what I will do is bring out a road nice and straight just in front of here. And we'll continue that on round in a little bit of a plaza area. And in fact, we can actually just grab one of our Park Life plazas to place in here, which I think will look nice. And let's actually go for a Paradox Plaza because we haven't used too many of those. So we'll place that in there. And we can come in and use some surface painter just to tidy this all up as per normal. Let's bring that road round in a square there, and then over here we can have a look at some office assets to put in. So the ones that I'd like to use here are these ones, and I'm just going to put in 4 of them, and we're going to create a bit of a block out of them. So let's just spin them all round so that we've got them at the right angles, like that, and then we can move them all into place. Now they aren't perfect squares, which makes this a little bit interesting, but we can get a really nice pattern out of them. So we just want to make sure that those pillars at the bottom and the roofs are all lined up really nicely there. And the most important thing is to, make sure these outside edges are lined up because that is what you would ultimately see from street view. So we will have this little tiny block in the middle that isn't filled in, but it's such a tiny detail. We don't worry about that. And the building as a whole looks nice as a foursome like that. And then again, just to make sure we've got access, we can bring up the pavement road. And we'll just bring it up this end to finish it off here. I don't want it connected actually. So let's just bring that back. And then what we can do is use move it to move this in nice and close to the edge of this office building and just bring that right up to the end there. And what this is doing now is it means it leaves us lots of green space that we can continue on some of this park life feel that we've got from Solitude Port. But then it starts to bring us in slightly more chunky but medium height buildings as we head on towards the downtown, so we're going to increase in the height as we head out that way. So lots of detailing opportunities around these buildings here. Now out in this space, what I would like to do is bring in a bit of a circular building. So there is one office asset that we can put together quite nicely into a kind of semi-ish circle, which is this one. So I'm just going to place down 3 of these for the moment, and what we will do is try and line them up so we've got these red awnings nicely aligned out the front of the building, like so. And the roofs look a little bit odd like this, but we will come back to that. And we are going to need to fix water, clearly. Let's just make sure that they are all the same height. But if we bring those out like that, what we start to get is this kind of circular look to it. So yeah, just like that. And then what we can do with those is if we grab these buildings and pick up all 3 of those, I'll copy them using move it, and then we can start to arrange them into a bigger circle. So yeah, there we go. So we get this kind of nice flow of circular buildings all the way around, which, this red awning continues on all the way, and it just looks pretty cool like that, arranged into this formation, I think. Now with this building as well, we are going to need access. So what I am going to do is again grab one of the pavement roads, which we're going to use very heavily all throughout this area. And we're just going to bring off, let's turn snapping off of this so we get a nice angle. We'll turn snapping to nodes off so it doesn't snap back on us. And let's see what we're doing. And then what we can do from here is just start to bring it out round in a circle so that all of these buildings get access around that side. And we can then connect it back up to this junction. And again, we've therefore got some nice detailing opportunities around that office building there as well. Now over here, what I would like to do is bring in some slightly taller assets along the waterfront here. So I think what we actually will use is this really tall office block, which just looks pretty cool actually, with all the marble glowing on the sides of it. So we're going to use that, and we'll spin this around and just place that in here for now. And then actually alongside it, I am going to use a high density residential building, which is this one, which looks like it could be really nice, posh waterfront flats. And again, this is literally just to give us some extra height on the edge of the water here as we're starting to build up towards the downtown. Just a couple of really tall buildings here I think will make a difference, and particularly if we check our angles from slightly further away as well, you can see we're going to have the super tall building somewhere around there, and just a little bit of extra pop in height in front of it I think just helps to frame that skyline. So again, let's give them access by using our pavement roads. I'm just going to come off the main junction here and then actually add in a parking lot road here to give them just a little bit of parking in this area, which I think would be appropriate around this block of flats. And then just in front of it here, what I'd like to do is bring in a little bit of high density commercial again, because we do have that commercial and office need here. So we will mix in some of these usage and hope that it's not too loud for the residents in that apartment block. So these assets are actually quite nice where they've got these balconies on the back. It could almost look like they are mixed assets even though they are not. So I'm going to use a couple of these in here. And what we will do is just merge them up super duper close so that we get a bit of a flow in the front of the building. And in fact, I am just going to merge them in even further so that we get that continuous flat front to the building. And those clown heads are 100% being bobbed off. There is no way that they are staying. So let's remove the clowns from there. And I think we can keep the billboards. It is commercial units after all. What we will do with the back of them there is just move that out. And because we can see we have got garages, I would like to honour that in the detailing by bringing out a road here again. So similar to the rest of our office complex, we will use a concrete pavement road and bring out access round the back here. And in fact, what we can do again, I think we will use a parking lot road just to get access back to these garages here, so we can include some parking spaces right in the back there for the residents. And yeah, we'll just do the spaces on the one side as this is the 16mm road here. They've still got access to the garages there, but that helps to make it feel just that little bit more realistic, I think. And then we can include one more asset over here. And I'm thinking we'll use this slightly smaller commercial unit just to stick out on the end here, which has some nice shop fronts down the bottom of it. It's got the hideous octopus, which we will bob off in a second. But there's nothing round the back that needs to be honoured too much, so we haven't got the space in terms of the detailing to do that. So yeah, let's just get rid of that octopus. No thanks. Bye-bye. And then we can leave that like that, so the monorail will flow nicely through these buildings here. And just to touch on this side of the road, again, we will add in a couple more offices because it's slightly closer to that residential there. And this is one, again, which looks like it could be flats on top of offices at the bottom. So I like how this looks, and this can then sit up alongside the water's edge here. And let's again give it access as we have been. So yeah, this is the general idea that we want to do, is introduce just car parks, some spaced out office buildings. There'll be lots of natural detailing in between, in and around this river. But yeah, gradual crawl in height as we start to get further up towards that downtown area. Merging in from this really natural market, lovely green, botanical gardens, solitude port here into that downtown area. So I will just go ahead and place in a few more commercial and office assets. And so there we go. So I have just put in several more blocks of commercial and offices. So we've got this one really big block of commercial here, so a high density commercial asset, and I've just used, it's just one asset, and I've just used the same asset repeatedly in different formations to kind of create this one huge block, which I think has worked out reasonably well there. Got another big block of commercial here, again just using the same asset, just forming it into a square. Lots of offices, just small blocks of offices here, which we do need to come in and make sure the colours are aligned on those. And then we've got more offices over here. Again, these are just the same asset here, repeated, 4 of them put into a block here. We've got these two, which are 2 very similar office assets. One smaller, one slightly larger, which we've just merged in together to create a slightly different look of a building there. And then I have also just extended on the monorail line down here, so we've got another stop, and then we're just bringing it in straight across this junction, heading right into the downtown, which will be situated right here. So that just gives them an extra form of transport across this office park there. So now the next thing that I want to do is actually incorporate bikes into this area and make it a little bit more friendly to get to, so not just having to rely on the public transport here. So our current bike network, we have got a bike road which runs all the way along this road and just finishes here, and then we've got bikes coming in down from Auridon up here all the way past the festival site and past the stadium there. So what I would like to do is continue on that bike network, and I think what we will do is bring it down this road and also bring it along here so that we can bring in a bike net path from the Green Cities area up here, and we'll actually probably use a raised bike path for this, crossing over this roundabout and then bringing them on down into Solitude Port and into the office area here. And just before, I've just spied here, just before I forget, I am going to remove parking from these roads because it just makes it look far too busy, and we've got lots of big car parks around here, so they do not need to be using the road to park there. So let's just get rid of all of those. So what we will do is we'll grab our bike path here, and let's just make sure that we're on the ground. We'll continue on the ground for a little bit here so that people can come on and off at this junction should they so wish. And then what we will do is continue on our theme of raising it up. So it will be on the ground, but raised so that we get that nice fencing next to it, the organic kind of fencing look on the edge of the bike path there. I'll just continue this on down this road up to this junction. And I will just pause for a sec here because, like I said, I would like to bring out some connections down into the Green Cities neighbourhood. So what I am going to do is create a bit of a raised bike path up from this junction here. So we're just going to very slowly raise it up so that we get a nice gentle slope heading up towards this one. And clearly we need to use Move It to sort that all out. Let's just pull that back ever so slightly. And then what we'll do at this point as well, so just before we do finalise with Move It, is we're going to bring it up and over this road. It doesn't need to be super duper high, and yeah, that's just looking all kinds of wrong right now. So let's use Move It to wrestle that into position. Just make sure that these are the same heights there. And have we got clearance? We have got clearance, so that's absolutely fine on the slope there. Let's just adjust that back ever so slightly. And we do also want to make sure that this bike road is nice and tucked in beside this road as well. We've got someone using it already and coming up from the Green Cities district. That's great to see. So now let's just use Move It to tidy this up and make this into a much nicer, easier slope. I think actually what we will do is bring out another connection to the Green Cities district here as well, just to help improve walkability. So we will do that from here, and we'll do a similar type of thing and just curve it round in to join the bike network like so. And then we can use Move It Slope tool to take all those nodes and give it a nice smooth slope up to the main bike network there. So now from here what I will do is I think I'll actually just keep it raised up to that height of 6 meters, and we will just follow this road along. And then what we can do at the roundabout is just sweep it round and bring it over the roundabout this side, so we're not crossing right over the middle of it, which I think will ruin this lovely design that we have going on here. And then what we can do is just bring it over the road like so, and we will bring it down in a nice smooth curve, which will then follow along the road up to this junction here. And then I think what we will do here as well is continue this bike network up along outside this road and into this office area. So if we just bring it out just right next to this road, and we'll just do it flat on the ground, I think, for this, rather than doing the raised network. And then from here, what I think we'll do is actually upgrade these roads to the bike network roads. Instead of having the grass on them, we'll have the bike lanes. We do already have a few people opting to take this cycling route, which is really good to see. Yeah, there are a few coming up and down it now. So hopefully we'll see that get busier as time goes on. And we will also feed the bike network down into the downtown via here as well, and following these roads up into the downtown too. So the final thing I'd like to do before we move on to the detailing of this area is actually incorporate buses. And because we are going to have a highway connection right about here and another one over there, the downtown is going to be situated right here. I am thinking that we are actually going to introduce an intercity bus terminal. And I'd like to use this metro intercity bus hub in order to do that, so that we've got a metro line which will give them easy access into the downtown that way. It'll also be close proximity to the monorail as well. So I'm thinking this little area is perfect for this. So we just put it down on the road there, then what we can do is use move it to get it into the location that we'd like. And what I would like is it sitting right in between these two roads, like so, with the monorail running very, very close behind it. I definitely don't want the buses coming out onto the main road, so that is the reason why. This then gives us a nice opportunity for some detailing in a big plaza right outside the front, and also gives us a great opportunity for a little bit of walking porn to get over to the monorail station over there. And then so from this bus hub as well, let's just create a little shuttle bus which is going to run around this area. So the other public transport connection that I would like to make is actually this metro. So it will run down into the downtown. But what I'm thinking is we don't have too many connections out into the Green Cities area. So they will have a metro that runs into the downtown. And they obviously have the shuttle bus going around. They're now connected up with bikes to the main bike network out that side. And actually we can help them out as well by doing that this side as well. So we will add that in. But the other thing I'm thinking is that we can bring in an underground metro into this area. And here, where we've got this really busy semi-transport hub, where we've got connections between the buses and the overground metro here, I think is the perfect place to do that. So let's just we're just going to grab our standard vanilla underground metro station for this, because I think the content creator pack metro stations are all pretty large, a little bit too large for this particular area. So we'll just grab our vanilla one, and what I'm actually going to do, I think, is put it right in the middle of this plaza here, just like so, because it does squeeze in almost just between those tables there, so I think that will work. And then what we can do as well is use node controller to add in a crossing here, so we can get people across the road easy enough. The bus stop's right here, there's another bus stop there, so we should get a lot of people moving around in this area. Let's just grab our metro lines. Just going to loop that across around through our office park, and then we'll curve it in nicely to the end of this metro station there, and then that can run on down into the downtown area. So that'll just give a connection between this office park and the Green Cities area. Let's make it, I think we've already got a yellow line, haven't we? Let's make it light blue. So yeah, we do have people using it, we do have people waiting. Quite a few people crossing into it now, so I think that will get some decent use going up to the intercity bus terminal here. Okay, so I think that just leaves some detailing. So we will come in and create a very natural look out of these little riverbeds and lakes. So I want it to feel quite shallow, lots of greenery and lots of rocks, of course, because it's Auridon. So it's going to feel very, very, very natural in amongst all of these kind of high-rise blocky buildings heading up to the downtown here. So it's going to be a bit of a unique thing for Auridon, I think, that close to downtown, but hopefully it'll be a nice office space and look like a nice place that you might want to work. We'll come and do lots of surface paint around here, lots of different plazas with outdoor eating areas for all of the offices. I will add in some services as well, because we are lacking in any services here. I can see the death care problems rising up already. So we will add those in too. And we'll continue on this feel from the Solitude Port Botanical Gardens here. We'll continue on that rocky and lovely different coloured trees theme up here, so that it sort of spills into the office park from that point of view. So I will therefore jump into the detailing time lapse and be right back. So there we go. So that was, as always, an awful lot of detailing. So I'll try and go through exactly what we've done. We've used a lot of planters. I've got a few of these little garden areas with a fountain with a few benches where office workers could kind of go and relax on their lunch breaks. Yeah, lots of these repeated planters everywhere. And we have also incorporated the cycle network here with a little bit of the amusement park fence just to block that off, add a bit of a safety rail to the cyclists coming in there. Down here we do have the statue of shopping, which I've bobbed off all of the trees and the bushes and added in these tiling decals around it just to give it a little bit more of a unique feel. Little food truck court down this end as well. Lots of planters, lots of planters. Round the river and round the lake we've got these rocks intermingled with reeds and live oaks, lots of trees, very, very natural looking. So as we come down this river here, and I have also put in the pedestrian paths as well. But as we come down this river here, you can see it's all very shallow and very, very natural looking. This bit I love in particular, with the water kind of flowing over the rocks down into the ocean there. In amongst all these big tower blocks, I think gives quite a unique look to it. Very natural with these high, modern, blocky buildings. So over here we have continued on the palette that was used by Overcharged Egg in Solitude Port, continuing on that autumnal, bright, colourful trees vibes. Just gravel path, lots of nature reserve fence, of course, long grasses, that kind of thing. And that's so it doesn't look like such a stark transition from the port through into this office park. We do have a few little food courts dotted around like this, where I've used the Green Cities asset to make it look like a little cafe restaurant area, and then added in decals and tables and planters, etc. out the front. There are a few of those knocking around. Another one over here as well, with the burnt bean organic coffee cafe incorporated into this little plaza area there. Then we've got this big double walkway. I have got paths all down here so that people can walk down in behind these offices. We've obviously got the raised cycle path network coming in behind the statue of shopping here. But what I really, really love is down on street level. These streets look just really nice, actually. Really, really nice. And I do need to come through and change the colour of some of these buildings to make sure each block matches the other one in the block. So I will do that before I do the cinematics and close off the episode. And we have got a few little bus shelters as well. So I've done the bus shelter here with a few benches. And likewise, if we come over here, we've got the custom bus stop over here, which I really like the look of. Actually with the zoo fence. This is a zoo prop fence, which actually works quite well, I think, in this area. And yeah, I particularly love how this monorail flows down through these high density buildings, and it will go on just straight into that downtown there. So eventually, as we look down this monorail line, it will be looking onto those massive skyscrapers that are going to sit right there. So I'm super excited to get that in and check out the view from all these different angles. And we have just done another natural garden outside the Metro Intercity bus hub. We have got people using the bridge to get over to the monorail there. Another Green Cities eatery asset there. But actually the plan longer term for this intercity bus station, which is why I haven't done too much with it now, is I want to kind of incorporate it into a central park, which I'm thinking this whole area here is going to be a massive central park, which runs up to that downtown skyline right through a lot of the built up area. So that is potentially what is going to happen in that big green space in between these two collectors here. So watch out for that in a coming episode. But for today, that is going to be it. So if you have enjoyed this episode, a like below is really, really appreciated. And if you would like to support me even further, there are links to Patreon and to Instant Gaming in the description. And please do drop me a comment and let me know any name suggestions for our Auridon office park here. Now the downtown is coming really soon, and that is going to make such a spectacular backdrop to not only our office district here, but also to Canalodon. And also that view from the monument. I will be checking that out as soon as the downtown goes in for sure. So stay tuned for that, and do stay tuned for the cinematics at the end as well, because there's some glorious nighttime shots that we've got going on around this area. But that is it from me for now, so I will catch you next time. Bye bye.